Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Take 5. We're in Exodus 21 going through some of the laws the people of Israel had to live by. And I think you'll appreciate the laws we have when you see what they had to do. But some of them make a lot of sense. And look here at verse 12, Exodus 21. Anyone who strikes a person with a fatal blow is to be put to death. However, if it is not done intentionally, but God lets it happen, they are to flee to a place I will designate. But if anyone schemes and kills someone deliberately, that person is to be taken from my altar and put to death. All right, and God was serious about the death penalty. If you killed somebody intentionally, you were to be put to death yourself. If it wasn't intentional, they had what was called cities of refuge. And there were certain cities you could go to, and people couldn't get you there. They couldn't seek revenge on you, but you had to get to those cities. All right, verse 15, anyone who attacks their father or mother is to be put to death. Pretty straightforward, isn't it? All right. Anyone who kidnaps someone is to be put to death, whether the victim has been sold or is still in the kidnapper's possession. All right, so, nowadays that would not be something that you would be killed for. You would be put in prison for it, but back then, they would kill you for it. Okay, they were serious. Look here at verse 17. Anyone who curses their father or mother is to be put to death. Now, of course, that would be breaking the fifth commandment or sixth one, honor your father and mother. I believe it's the fifth, one of those. But yeah, and God was serious about that commandment, and you would actually be put to death for doing that. Verse 18, if people quarrel and one person hits another with a stone or with their fist, and the victim does not die but is confined to bed, the one who struck the blow will not be held liable if the other can get up and walk around outside with a staff. However, the guilty party must pay the injured person for any loss of time and see that the victim is completely healed. All right, here's where they get in a fight. All right, and these two people are fighting, and one of them takes a rock and hits the other one in the head. All right, and the other one is injured for a while and can't work. Well, whoever did the injuring has to pay them for the time they missed. All right, and if they kill them, this is not talking about if they kill them, but if they don't kill them, then that's it. But basically they got to make sure they get well, and they got to pay for their whatever time they lose and medical bills. And that's pretty much the way it is now. See, some of these laws we actually learned from and have kept. Some of them we've softened somewhat. We don't put that many people to death anymore. Verse 20. Now look, remember I told you slavery was a system, and we think that of abuses, but God looked to protect slaves then too. Verse 20, anyone who beats their male or female slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies as a direct result. So you were not allowed to kill your slaves. All right. And so, but 21, but they are not to be punished if the slave recovers after a day or two, since the slave is their property. Now you were allowed to beat them. And as long as they recovered, you're okay. So you couldn't beat them too hard. And we don't like that. We don't like reading that, but this was God's law. And we're not going to understand everything God did then, and we don't understand everything God does now, but that's the way it was. Thankfully, we don't deal with slavery in our culture anymore, but they certainly did. All right, I'm going to stop right there. I went long yesterday, going to keep it a little shorter today, but we got more laws, lots more laws to get through on the next edition of Take 5.